Hello, everyone. You're in the office with Joseph Skoda once again. Yeah, today I want to talk to you a little bit about our spheres of influence, our spheres of concern, things that we may or may not have control over, for instance. And first of all, I want to give credit to most of this to the corporate coach group, whereas I get a lot of the information from. Once again, this is Joseph Skoda from social media shows and so many other places in the world. Please look me up at josephskoda.com. Anyways, I want to talk about our different spheres that we have. Sometimes we think we're more in control than we are. There's three specific spheres I'm going to address: sphere of control, sphere of influence, and sphere of concern. Now, believe it or not, our sphere of control is our smallest sphere. And then the sphere of influence, middle-sized sphere, but our sphere of concern, and we need to be concerned about this, is our biggest sphere. Let me explain a little bit. Your sphere of control contains all the things you can control, directly control. Very restricted. You can say yes or no, do this or do that. What are you thinking? But the only thing over which you have direct and unchallengeable control are those things. Yes, no, you're going to wake up, but you control nothing else. You really cannot control anything. Your sphere is just you. You cannot control the weather. Obviously, you can't control your friends or family. Traffic, good luck with that one. You can't even control your customers, your colleagues, the way they're thinking, or your boss and what they're going to do. You can only control yourself. And believe it or not, many people cannot even do that correctly. Right? We cannot control our fear. We cannot control our eating habits sometimes. We cannot control our language. Often we say the wrong things, and our bad habits. We often do the wrong things also, not just say them. But think about that. Fear, eating, saying, doing, thinking. We do not even control that very well. We should, because that's part of who we are. So that's kind of our sphere of control that we think about. Now, but we can. I mean, we can't take control over the things. We can take control of our temper, our fears, our eating, our language, our work habits, if you really work on it. But realistically, it seems like it's hard and we don't have any control of those things, but we can if we work on it. Now let's move on to our sphere of influence. Sphere of influence. To gain more influence in our world, we obviously need to control everything that we can control. Power, power. And first of all, but if we can control our own habits, our tongue, our time, then our influence over other things will increase. That makes sense, because we're not going to be all stressed out about us and take care of our own livelihood, our own life. We'll have more time to influence outside of that. So our sphere of influence contains all the things that we can influence, but we cannot directly control. Understand, we can influence you to go to school, influence to get another job, influence our community to be a better place, but we do not have direct control over that. So obviously we can influence, but we're not in control of a much larger set of things. This includes some people. Not all people, some people, meaning a small number of people who live in our sphere of influence. For instance, our children, maybe our elderly parents, somewhere along those lines. Therefore, we have an opportunity to affect how they think, what they say, and what they do. We have opportunity to affect it. Doesn't mean we control it, but we can affect it. We can influence different actions and behaviors of others directly living under a roof or that we have close contact with. Realizing we can't control them, we can just influence. And hopefully we're influencing in the right way. Right. Now, what about our sphere of concern? And I talked about that a little bit earlier. That was one of the points I wanted to bring up. Because the sphere of concern basically should be everything in our planet. It's a really huge set, of course. It contains everything that you cannot control and you obviously cannot influence. We cannot control or influence Mother Nature, international politics, and the actions of 6 or 7 billion people. Just try it. Just try it. So we shouldn't waste time stressing ourselves over things we cannot control nor influence. So don't waste your energy on the things that you and I cannot change. We need to learn to focus all of our energy, listen to this, all of our energy on a much smaller number of things that we can positively change. Positively. We do not want to negatively change anything, do we? Don't know. But we can work on what we are going to say. We can and should work on what we're going to do. And we should always continuously be working on our performance and our skill set. Now, I'm sure a lot of you heard about this, the serenity prayer. I'm sure you know it. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. More often than not, we don't know the difference. We're always struggling and telling people they should do what they should think, and we often bang our heads against the wall because we believe they're the ones stubborn and they're not going to listen. Yeah, but we have something to do with that also. The more we tell people what to do, there comes a point where they just stop listening. And if we're nagging someone, they're going to stop listening even sooner. They may smile to your face. They may say, yes, dear, or whatever you want. I'll look into that. But they're going to ignore you. Begging, pleading, nagging, complaining has a negative impact on the one we're trying to influence. So we need to work on ourselves. Like I said, work on what we're thinking and what we're doing. And those would be really important. Then we can positively influence other people. So let's just recap. There are three spheres. Sphere of control. Those are like our eating habits. When we wake up, are we going to go to school? Things that we are going to be able to control. Are we going to exercise, watch TV, learn something new? And there's that little bit of sphere of influence. And those are usually people that live under our roof or in close proximity to us. It's usually a family member. Obviously, if you're the boss and you have employees, you have an influence on them in one way or another, of course. And that's so important to understand that. So our sphere of influence is all the things that we can influence, but we cannot control, like I said. And we talked about this a little bit. We cannot control the weather. We cannot control the way other people are going to drive. We cannot control what someone's going to say about us. And we often get stressed out worrying about what people are doing and saying and the fear of the unknown. But once we can let that go and understand we have influence, and the more positive people we are continuously working on ourselves, then we're going to be able to go out there and influence people in the right way. Now, the sphere of concern, obviously, we need to worry about poverty. We need to worry about things going on in the world, sharks dying. We need to worry about possibly lack of food or too many people living in our community where we cannot support them all. We need to worry about those things. So the key is to pick out one or two of those key issues. That only takes one person to make a difference. And that's because we're using that sphere of concern. Hey guys, it's real important that we need to go back and teach people how to farm again, for example. We need to teach people to grow their own corn, their own tomatoes, their own pepper, whatever it is. And if we can teach that, and you go out there and tell one person that tells one person that tells one person that tells one person, your sphere of concern can grow a lot larger than you can your sphere of control, then your sphere of influence around you. But it's the concern, it's the heartfeltness of us and what we're trying to accomplish that is more important. It's what really matters. It's not worrying about those small things. Oh my goodness, your feet stink again. And don't get me wrong, I have a nephew lives with me. His feet stink all the time. But that's just one point. Do I have influence? Sure. I want to tell them a few things. I certainly do, of course. But sometimes I have to focus on others. I do have a sphere of concern, and we're all worried about different things. Pollution is always one of them. But we cannot control the whole world, of course not. But you and I can control ourselves and ensure we're not polluting too much, make sure we're not littering at all. And I strongly, a strong believer and supporter of recycling, plastics, glass, aluminum, metal, of course. The problem is a lot of societies or communities cannot do anything with all these recyclables we have. They used to pay us for them, either weigh them or per can, but now there's just no place for it all to go. So what do we do with that? You're concerned about recycling? Find out why it's not a big deal. Find out where does that recycling actually go. Find out if we could do more. And if we're doing that sphere of concern, then our sphere of influence will grow a little bit because people are going to see us doing some of the right things, things that really matter. And when we realize people are watching us, guess what? Your sphere over control of yourself and your own emotions and your own eating habits and your own skill set, you own it. People will be watching you. So when we focus on the bigger picture, things can come back to us and we can see how we can grow from that also. But in the meantime, please watch your actions and what you say and how you think. And how do you do that most effectively? Keep negativity at bay. Don't listen to all that stuff around you. Do your own fact checking. And every time you see a comment on Facebook or social media that you don't like, you don't have to answer it. You can unfriend them or just scroll down. Hey, I understand. It can be difficult for me some days also. But if you do what's really important and focus on those little things, you get more and more people under your influence that will also focus on the environment or things that matter to you, or maybe something else. But that's still more people caring. And that's what the bottom line is. More people caring. So look after your sphere, whatever that may be, and continuously grow it, your control, your influence, your concern. Figure it out yourself. Don't take my word for it. Trust me, and definitely don't take these guys' word for it either. The point is, you are your own person. And we only have a short time left on this earth, on this planet that we call Earth. So go out there, make a difference, lead the way, set something that you and your family can be proud of. And when you're constantly bashing and beating up people, that's not something to be proud of. Have yourself a great day. Joseph Skoda, over and out. Bye now.
John is an employee at one of the most famous firms in the city of New York, so his job is very hectic, and he realized that it is necessary for him to go and finally take a vacation. But he went on a vacation without planning out the details, and wasn't able to truly enjoy where he went because he had to think about so many things that he didn't plan for. Instead of enjoying his time away from work, he came back with more stress that he was not able to take full advantage of his vacation. But this year, a coworker suggested him to try World Ventures this time to make his vacationing more enjoyable and less stressful. They do not require you to plan anything outside of your transportation, which is also available at discounted rates. Your stay, your transport, and many meals are planned by the club. John liked the idea very much. He tries World Ventures, and his experience with the club was amazing, as he made many friends there with whom he had a great time. John recommends that everyone should try this club, as they are the best in business. See how the VIP-vacation-club.com can give you the right experience without all the hassle. Enjoy the VIP experience that only World Ventures provides.
Traditional TV is going away. Hollywood is starting to fade. People are demanding real stories from real people. Our voices are now being heard in our own way. Podcasts, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok Live are becoming the norm. Internet TV has now reached the highest demand in human history. Social media shows is now the new media of the century.
We've reached the age of live streaming on social media shows. You may ask, we're already ahead of the curve, so why do you need to advertise with us? Well, only 8% of the businesses in the US are using digital advertising to grow their business. That's 2 percentage points short of reaching critical mass, which will lead to faster results. We have 20 plus shows with a reach of over 80,000. We'll give you commercial ads, website link, and connections to nonprofit organizations. So get your brand ready for digital monetization, for we are looking for sponsors, which will bring more traffic to your business and ultimately mean more sales. So let's bring the world to you. Inquire now.
Hello, you're in the office with Joseph Skoda, founder of GI Connections and co-founder of social media shows. Anyways, what I want to talk to you a little bit about is competition. I happen to be a Toastmaster, District 33 director, Toastmasters, and we just recently had a contest over the weekend. Friendly competition. Now, our friendly competition is different than those, racing cars or horses or sports or running or whatever it is. Ours has to do with speeches. Now, this past weekend, we had two competitions going on the international speech and one on a humorous speech. Actually, one contestant competed in both. Now, to be able to reach the level to even compete at our district level, we have roughly 3,000 members now, 140 clubs more or less. You had to start at a club level. Usually clubs are between 10 to 20 people and win there. And then you'd have to compete at the area contest, which usually consists of 4 to 6 clubs. Then you have to compete at the division contest, which is normally, you could say 25 to 35 clubs. And then the winner there gets to compete at the district contest, which is the one I just held. Now, talking about 3,000 members, of course, not everyone competes, but there's a lot of energy to further up your club members go and the excitement. Now, the winner of the humorous contest stays right there in the district because that's not an official contest that goes up higher. But the winner of our international contest will go to region finals in a couple months and then compete with the rest of the world Toastmasters International Conference in August, where they could potentially become the world champion of public speaking. Is that a big deal? Well, it is in my arena, in my era, because a lot of those speakers who were shy, a lot of whatever mistakes, grammarian mistakes. Boy, listen to me talk now. It's how horrible. Anyways, some of them have only have 1 or 2 years experience. Some have 20 and 30 years, some just a few months. And it varies. And watching someone who could barely say a sentence without all those filler words like ums and ers and you knows and, like I'm trying to say, minimize or eliminate that from their vocabulary and compete at the highest level. That's exciting. That is exciting. So I want to ask you a little bit about when's the last time you pushed yourself to compete at the highest level? Regardless of what that is, it does not have to be speaking. It doesn't have to be football. But when's the last time you pushed yourself just a little further? Sure, we're all great singers. We're all great dancers. Of course we are. Why not? We already know how to speak in public and aren't afraid of anything and stab the bears and build houses. And that's building our egos in most cases. It's important to build ego a little bit, justifiably, justifiably. So technically, what are you and I doing to make life just a little bit easier for those behind us? Because when you and I compete, we do not have to come in first place. We come in 50th place out of 1,000 people. When you and I step up and give it our all, when we give it our best, we're showing those behind us, could be our children, our coworkers, our community, that they too can feel comfortable competing. Now, quite frankly, I started competing and joining leadership in Toastmaster organization because I watched people who've been there, done there longer than me. I said, I can do that better. Say, I think I can give you a run for your money. So often, just the challenge comes from watching other people do things that you know deep down inside that you can do better. Can we do better? Who knows? You know, any given day, you and I could beat the best of the best. Any given day. Now, the best of the best is normally practicing more than we are, or maybe not more than we are now, but they have a lot more experience from the past. But any given day, someone could slip and fall, make a mistake, stutter, hit their head on something, become unconscious, whatever it is. And you and I could be the winner of the day. We could lead the pack at that moment. We could be ahead just a little bit. Get those accolades that we never had before and see our names in the spotlight. Now, many of you know I'm an entrepreneur. I always say entrepreneur, and I'm always corrected. Oh, it's entrepreneur. But there's an E in front of it. Why would it be R? That would be an O, right? That's not the point. The point is, I became an entrepreneur because I couldn't find a job. Now, don't get me wrong. I still have a master's degree, and I was looking for work, but I was looking for work in particular fields that they had no openings for. I couldn't humble myself at that time to take a lesser paying job or work in an area I wasn't familiar with, or just quite frankly didn't want to do anymore. You ever been that? Hey, well, how are you to dig ditches? Like, well, 20 years ago, I might have been your man, but today I just don't do that no more. I'm not physically able nor I want to. But you know, digging ditches pays pretty well. The point is sometimes we have to humble ourselves or take a couple steps backward to learn and grow. It doesn't matter what job you're taking on now, especially somebody in high school, you're expected to work fast food or cut grass or deliver flowers or whatever it is right there. You're expected to. And don't let that bother you until you get some experience, some education, a little bit of knowledge and self-confidence. That's where you're going to be. And rightfully so. Now, I give a lot of kudos to those parents who are able to bring up their kids younger and teach them the responsibility, how to earn and save money, and and learn things early on. Play is fun. We all need to play. Adults and kids need to play, but we still need to be learning and building upon our repertoire, our resume, so we're readily prepared for the future. Now, getting back to me, I became an entrepreneur because I could not step back and lose money. It's funny because I was already getting a retirement. All I had to do was earn a little bit to supplement that. And I don't know what I was thinking. I really did not know what I was thinking. Maybe if I knew Toastmasters back 20 years ago, I would have had the confidence to really go after what I wanted. The point is, I became an entrepreneur. I know you can barely see this shirt right here, but it says GI Connections. GI Connections. It's obviously a veterans organization that I became the founder of, and we're just helping connect veterans with resources. Well, that sounds simple. Well, it is simple. in some communities. Others really have to struggle for it. We still have active duty and veterans committing suicide about 22 a day around the world. Sometimes more, sometimes a little bit less, but around 22 a day. And I've talked to several people or talked out of several people who try to commit suicide over the years. And we need to do that. But besides that, other resources, a lot of veterans are not getting their disability compensation claims taken care of. Some are having problems with housing. Some are having problems with going back to school or starting a business or, quite frankly, even writing a resume. If you've been in the military 10 or 20 years, you don't have to write a resume. You're just working, getting promoted, hopefully working, getting promoted, and you know your job inside and out. But when you step out into the civilian world, where you're writing cover letters, resumes, filling out job applications again, most of us are fairly smart up here, but it's still an unfamiliar world because we haven't done that in, quite frankly, it could be a couple decades or just a few years. So connecting veterans with resources is important. I have a friend of mine who builds tiny houses, tiny homes for homeless female veterans. I have another one that has housing for some veterans, and he also has a fellowship and help him get a softball team, bowling leagues, just things in the community to bring a family feeling good again. Nothing's better than to feel acceptance. And sure, there's friendly competition in those sports, but he's not looking for the ringer going to stick it in your face. He's looking for come join the family, have some fun. So you can still have competition, have fun, and not necessarily beat someone. Sure, we want to win, but you don't have to beat someone to a pulp. And sometimes you just win by this much. Like, yeah, if you didn't win that time, so I'll get you next time. I'll get you next time. Is that so bad? To win up in our heads, but don't have to brag about it, but we know we won the competition? Or maybe we just won, yeah, we won the competition, but maybe not the war over time. And things will change from time to time. And as I mentioned, any given day we could win. You could trip, you could fall, you could bump your head, you could da, and the list goes on. Be sick, and the other person, someone new, could come up and zoom right on by you. Could even be a speech contest. You and I need to always be practicing something. Always need to be learning something. Always need to be fine-tuning, honing a new skill. It may or may not be public speaking. You'll be surprised at how exciting it can be to get out there and do something you're afraid to do, something you've never done before. Quite frankly, the first few videos I've done like this, pretty scary. It's not that easy talking to a camera and look good doing so. And really, that's okay. But it takes mentors, coaches, experience, patience, to quite frankly be all that you can be. Don't let someone tell you you can't do it, you shouldn't do it. What were you thinking? Prove them wrong. Prove them wrong. Prove that you do know what you're doing, or at least you're trying. How many people sit back and complain and doubt people and make them feel bad? They're sitting on the couch. Don't be that person. Hey, observers are great and fine, but sip it when it comes to someone who's doing it and trying. We need to constantly be encouraging each other, like I said, to be all they can be. Encouraging others to step out of their comfort zone. Encouraging others. And showing them that they too can be winners. Now, it was an Adam Sandler movie. I really forget. Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore. I don't remember if you know that or not. In his mind, he was a hockey player. He's been playing hockey most of his life. Wasn't really good. He could hit things really hard. He got a lot of fights, but his mind was a hockey player. And somewhere, somehow, I think it was Chubbs who seen him on the golf course and say, here, I challenge you. I bet you can't hit that. And his big head, of course I can hit that. I've been hitting pucks my whole life. And he missed the golf ball. Over and over again, he missed the golf ball. And he got frustrated. He got angry. He broke clubs. He threw things. He even hit Bob Barker in the mouth. You have to watch the movie. It's a great movie. But the point is, we think our destination, our goal, our skill is one thing, and it may be something else. Sure, I was a good employee. I really was a good employee in the military in my service, but I'm also a good entrepreneur. I'm also a good mentor. I'm also a good coach. Things I never thought I could do before. And I had to hit kind of rock bottom and get slapped around a bit to figure that out. Don't let someone slap you around too long. It can hurt. It really can hurt. But don't be afraid to try something new. Friendly competition. You want to go out there, get a buddy of yours that maybe you're in the same boat. Maybe you're both looking for work. Maybe you're both veterans. Maybe one's Army, one's Air Force. Whatever it is, have that friendly competition. Say, I want to get 10 paid speaking events by the end of the year. Or maybe I want to make an extra $1,000 a month in 6 months. Or maybe I want to, bowl 20 pins higher in a couple months than I ever have before. Whatever that is. Sometimes we just need that running partner to challenge us, to keep us on track. And when you find that running partner, that's someone that helps you stay accountable for your actions and what you say you're going to do. Yeah, that kind of brings it together. So if you want to compete, get a little competition, try something you haven't done before, find a coach, because the coach can be your running partner. Now, I'm not going to go out there and run with you. Probably not. Maybe I'll jog a little bit on the side, but I can help you up here. I can help you in here. I can help you focus on your own goals, whatever that may be. And maybe I can't. But getting back to veterans, not only help with the compensation, maybe housing, a belonging, a lot of us just need to know how to relax. Because we get stressed in everyday life. And if you're getting turned down from job to job, or worse yet, you get up there in age and people just kind of don't want to give you a chance. Yeah, I've been there. I kind of get it. But if you're just looking for a way to relax and meditate and enjoy the life that you have, because there is still a purpose for you and I. There's still a reason we're on this earth. There is still more that you and I can give to ourselves, to our family, to our communities, regardless of what they believe and what they say. Anyways, this is Joseph Skoda, G.I. Joe Skoda. Encourage you to find a little friendly competition that's going to help you grow, learn, and be all that you can be. Have yourself a great day now. Look forward to talking to you. You want to find me, josephskoda.com. Learn a little bit about what I'm about. Have fun now.
Traditional TV is going away. Hollywood is starting to fade. People are demanding real stories from real people. Our voices are now being heard in our own way. Podcasts, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok Live are becoming the norm. Internet TV has now reached the highest demand in human history. Social media shows is now the new media of the century.